It's trying. Welcome to Ring the Damn Bell. I am your host, KG, and with me is the wrestling enthusiast, the impatient, hungry Mark. What's going on, man?
I'm angry.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody,
I got Taco Bell coming though.
Oh, cool. So, guys, give me 1 second. Mark's going to have to take the wheel for a moment. I'll be right back.
Kevin's gonna leave me to my own devices. He's gonna pay for that later. All right. So, anyways, interesting thing today. Somebody posted on Facebook, who was world champion when you started watching wrestling? Okay. So my reply was, well, Vern Gagne in the AWA, Harley Race in the NWA, and Hulk Hogan in the WWF. Now, mind you, I started watching AWA first, then NWA, and then finally WWF.
All right. Go ahead.
You're going to regret that 30 seconds, but okay.
Why? What'd you say?
I just told him what kind of person you really are. No.
I'm a son of a bitch. So real quick before we get into the review of Friday night SmackDown, big news happening right now with WrestleMania 42. Nolo.com on Thursday reported that WWE was pulling WrestleMania away from them. It was supposed to be in New Orleans next year. And according to the report, an unnamed source, someone they couldn't name, stated that WWE was going back to Vegas for WrestleMania 42. Again, everything is just speculation because this was an unnamed source has reported on it. But if you read it between the lines, man, I think that's going to happen because Triple H came and said, "Look, New Orleans, as a reward, as an apology for pulling WrestleMania from you guys, we're going to have Money in the Bank there." And like I said in my report, WrestleMania, I mean, Money in the Bank's great. But come on, man, that is nothing like WrestleMania. The experience of having WrestleMania in your city, oh man, those people in that market, they're going to be very, very disappointed.
That's millions of dollars lost in local revenue.
Yeah, it really is. We'll see what's going to happen as it unfolds, and also, according to YouTube, because I got it last time we did this. I have to give a warning. We will be smoking on this podcast. So if that offends you, we're putting that out there right now. So YouTube doesn't bother me again about it. Ridiculous. But anyway, let's get to the review, man. I didn't mind the SmackDown. It was fairly decent.
Yeah, it was decent. In watching it, I kind of figured out that it's only a 2-hour show with, if you skip some of the nonsense and the commercials, so it's easier to digest. But anyways, we'll start out with Tiffany Stratton to the ring. And, to me, Tiffany got kind of a mixed reaction.
Yeah, she did.
Anyways, she came out and talking about Money in the Bank and where she was a year ago. And, if somebody wins it this year or whoever is going to win it this year, they're going to have a hard time taking it from her. Alexa Bliss came out, kind of an introduction, a recap that she's been a world champ and Money in the Bank champ or a winner. Then Charlotte Flair came out claiming she's never won Money in the Bank. So if that's how she's got to go about it, that's how she's going to go about it. Tiffany pretty much said, "Kiss my butt and see you later," to both of them. Oh, and said they were old and irrelevant pretty much. Now, Tiffany's like, what, 25, maybe 26?
Yeah.
Bliss has got to be, what,
early 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Charlotte's, pushing 40, I think. So.
Yeah. Um, I like this segment. Charlotte looked a lot better than what she did over WrestleMania. She really did. I love the robe that she came out with. That black robe, kind of like that evil queen type of a
Yeah.
look.
If memory
Um,
serves me, most of her robes are modified from her dad's robes.
yep, yep, that is correct. But yeah, I didn't mind this. I was hoping that Charlotte would not win the Money in the Bank, but we would go on to find out later in the show who would win that qualifying match to get that briefcase.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right, so that brings us to the next part. Julia comes out, and I think her and Charlotte had a stare down, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, man. And Julia looked great, absolutely
Um,
great.
I didn't know she was Japanese. I didn't know what she was. I didn't know she was Japanese though. Is she
She
Japanese?
does. I actually went when they announced her being from Japan. I went and Googled her, and they say that she's Japanese, which really surprised me because she does not look
Right,
Japanese whatsoever. Look,
right.
I'm married. My wife is Asian, right? And there's just certain little looks that Asian people have. She does not have any of those characteristics in her face. So yeah,
Speaking of which, your wife's way out of your league.
yeah. Well, whatever. Dude, whatever. I used to be a man. Look, why I got to bring that shit up? I was hot back in the day. When I met her, I was in shape. I was ripped. Yep. What you see now is happy married life 11 years later.
All right. So, anyways, it goes to Julia versus Charlotte versus Zelina. Julia pins Zelina. I was kind of surprised.
I wasn't because I didn't think that there was any way that Charlotte was going to take a pin or tap out.
Yeah,
Um,
but I think this is not going to disclude Charlotte from Money in the Bank. I think somehow she's going to weasel her way into it. To be honest.
yeah, I agree. I wasn't surprised that Selena got pinned. And good for Julia. If Selena didn't have that title, I'd be like, wow, they're screwing her over again. But she has her title that she's going to be concentrating on and defending. So I didn't mind her taking that 3 count to get Julia over in
Yeah, but
Money in the Bank.
I think Julia and Zelina are done with because when Julia loses Money in the Bank, she's going to go after Zelina. I think she's going to take the belt. To be honest.
I I I agree. I
So
100% agree.
all right. So next we go to Ciampa versus Chris Sabin. Uh, and I was surprised Candice LeRae came out, and because I was just mentioning like 2 episodes ago that I haven't seen her in a while. But apparently she's aligning herself with her husband and Ciampa now.
Yeah,
Um,
this is I this is my issue with this. I really have a feeling that we are going to see um a repeat of what happened at NXT on WWE. I think Ciampa is going to wind up turning on Gargano, and we're going to see that battle between those two again with his wife being involved. Um, I say I have an issue with it. I actually thinking about that. I really don't because Gargano and Ciampa, man, when they fight each other, Jesus Christ, they
yep,
both put on one hell of a match together against one
it's
another.
like a throwback of Benoit, Eddie, Malenko, or Perry Saturn, any four, Chris Jericho, any five of those guys combined. It's like a throwback to that.
Right, right. I agree.
So
So I take that back. I don't have an issue with it.
you
I just
take
foresee that
issue with it
happening.
rehashing a storyline.
Right, right. There's ways of having Ciampa turn on Gargano and making it a little different than what happened at NXT,
Right. Well, it could be Gargano turns on Ciampa too.
or that.
That'd be actually a better deal, to be honest.
You know, did
I mean, the end
I
result's still gonna be
disagree?
the same.
Right. Let me tell you why I disagree with you. Ciampa just looks like a heel. And Gargano looks like he would be that baby face, which he has before. And Ciampa can play a good baby face. We see that before both of them turned to heels. But when facing one another, I think that Gargano looks better as the babyface, and Ciampa just has that look to be
Oh
that
yeah,
heel.
Ciampa just looks mean.
He does. He does. Look, all right, man. I am almost 6'5", right? And Gargano, he's not that tall, but I tell you, if I ran into him in a dark alley and he was angry, I may even think twice. He just has that look.
Gargano or Ciampa?
Ciampa.
Okay, well you said Gargano.
Oh, I meant Ciampa.
Yeah. No, Ciampa. I don't care if I'm 6'6", man. Ciampa looks like a fucking pit bull. All right,
Yeah,
so
I
next we
agree.
go. Oh, Kano 3 helped Ciampa for the win. On a side note, I got a kick out of this. They were showing a clip for Stephanie's place or whatever, and apparently she was trying to do the Triple H spit entrance.
Oh, yeah, see that?
Oh my god, I was laughing so hard. Normally I don't even watch that stuff, but when she says, "Yeah, I was trying to do your spit entrance," and I'm like, "Come again? You should be a pro at this." According to Chris Jericho. All right.
Oh, see, you had to go there.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's according to Chris Jericho. All right. Uh, but anyways, I watched it and I was just in tears. I was just rolling because it was just a funny segment. I actually might have to tune into that episode.
I've not
Um,
seen. I've not seen any of those the Stephanie Place
no,
shows at all.
I haven't either. Because they haven't held my interest. But this one, I might have to check out. All
Right.
right, so then we go to Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre having to throw down before their match tonight, which I really thought was kind of irrelevant, but whatever.
Yeah, tonight they're having that cage fight and cage match, and I'm just not invested in it, man. I'm really not. I don't know
You know, I
why,
think
but
I think this is going to be the sleeper match. Well, not the sleeper. I think this is going to be a match that we're going to sleep on, but it's actually going to be pretty brutal.
could be, could be.
Oh, and then we had a Faxum interview. I don't know what it is about these guys, but I have almost zero interest in them. And they're a
Really
great
bad.
team.
I
They're
right.
a great team, but I just have zero interest in them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're that great at cutting promos, but goddamn, they're good in the ring.
Oh yeah, they're excellent in the ring, but I just don't see these guys meshing as a team, and they are. But it's unexpectedly, I guess,
Right. Right.
or organic, one of the two. I don't know. Uh, then we go to there's a backstage brawl, I guess, with Mitchin and B-Fab and Piper and Alba Fire and what's her name,
Don't care.
Chelsea Green. Yeah, when you say you don't
Yep.
care, I know. What surprised me in this, and I think if I remember right, Zelina was walking back, and the size difference between Zelina and Chelsea, I guess I never really realized. Even when Zelina took the belt, Chelsea's like a good two heads taller than Zelina.
Selena's a tiny, tiny person, man.
Yeah, but you can't underestimate them little firecrackers, boy.
No, she could go to the ring, but she's definitely tiny. But this whole thing with Chelsea Green and her Secret Service people, I don't care. I'm not able to get
I think it's kind of
invested in anything they're doing.
a unique setup, I guess. I don't know. It's not like it's the first time it's been done. It hasn't been. Um, but I kind of enjoy it, and I like Chelsea, and you don't. So
Well, but this is the problem, though. Nothing is BFAB, but Michin, I used to like her, and I really think that they hurt her by putting her with BFAB because she's good in the ring, and when she was by herself, you were able to really focus on what she was doing, and just putting her with BFAB is just it completely took away how good she is for myself.
yeah, it elevates B-Fab, but yeah, it takes away from Mitchin. And Mitchin's
Yeah,
one hell of a talent. They just misuse her so much. I
I
don't know if
agree.
she's lacking mic skills or whatever, but she's got all the talent in the world. And she's got all the ability in the world. I mean, she's a hell of a performer.
Yeah.
Um, Not that our 150 followers are going to make a difference in that, but
Whoa, 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 dude. We at 166, man.
ooh, buddy, we're moving on up. All
And
right.
and as I said, look, real quick, our podcast has been averaging between 300 and 400 views. So I thank everybody for that. And our podcast is a little different. It's not as defined as a lot of your other podcasts. The shit, look, right now, we're doing it from outside because we're in Minnesota. And let me tell you, when we have good weather, we take
We
advantage of it.
outside. Right. We outside. Yeah. All right. So I think then we go to Legata, basically hashing out family differences, and Angel Garcia pretty much walked away from him. Um, the one thing I would like to see in this Money in the Bank is I'd love to see Andrade, but I don't think he's in it. You know, I really think Andrade and Aleister Black should be a tag team. I really do.
When Andrade left AEW, was coming back to WWE, I was excited for him.
Right.
But there's part of me that's like, maybe he should have stayed at AEW because what are they doing with him in WWE? Absolutely nothing.
Right.
Nothing. If he's scheduled for to actually have a match, he loses. Most of the
Right.
time, they're just using him backstage. I
Yeah.
don't get
No.
it. Don't get
Him
it.
and
He is
and
so talented.
yep. And in 3 months, that's where Alistair's going to be too.
Yeah.
You know, which is a shame because Alistair reminds me of Chris Benoit with that demeanor. You know.
Mm.
Um. All right. So next we go to Jacob Fatu and Jeff Cobb. I don't care what they call him. He's Jeff Cobb to me. Versus Jimmy Uso and Ray Phoenix. Um. Jacob and Jeff take up the win.
Yep. Yep. I was surprised. I was expecting that to completely break down and for us to finally have that turn that we know is coming with Haku, but they didn't pull the
Fatu.
trigger yet.
I mean
I mean, I
Jacob
had
Fatu.
Jesus. Yeah, Fatu, not one, not Haku.
Yeah.
Oh
We're
yeah,
not
Fatu.
defined or we're not refined at all. You know, we fuck up people's names all the time. All right. So, anyways, then we go to our truth, which you know what I like this segment. Um, our truth really kind of laid it out there and it says to save wrestling, I've got to save you.
Yeah, so this match tonight is not for the title, correct?
I don't think so, but it could be.
They didn't really say, but let me tell you, if this isn't for the title tonight, it would be
Give it to our
awesome if
truth. Yep.
it would be what?
Give it to our truth if it's not for the
Yeah,
title. Give it to him.
I was gonna say if it's not for the title, let R-Truth win. That way you could put him in somewhat of a feud with John Cena for John Cena to defend that title, and give R-Truth a chance to win it. Obviously, R-Truth would lose, but give him that win tonight.
Yep. Give him his flowers, man. The
Yep,
guy
yep,
deserves it.
yep.
All right, so next we can go to a Naya rant. Pretty much, she don't trust anybody. She don't care about family ties. She's gonna beat everybody's ass. So it's gonna be her, Jay Cargill, and Naomi. I think that's tonight, isn't it? Or no, it's next Friday.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So next we go to Shinsuke Nakamura versus LA Knight versus Aleister Black. Now, to me, this was match of the night, but I
I
take
agree.
exception because Aleister lost. You know, I like
Yep.
LA Knight, but damn it, I like Aleister Black that much more.
Yeah, but at least they protected him and he didn't take the pin.
Yeah. Yeah, but they screwed
So
Shinsuke in the process.
yeah, I knew there was no way Shinsuke was going to win. I even knew that there's no way Aleister Black's going to win. I knew that this was going to be, LA Knight.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, LA Knight, I think while he's popular, I don't think he's that megastar he was a year ago.
No, because they didn't use him properly a year ago.
Right. No, a year ago he was hotter than shit.
A
You know?
year ago is when they actually should have put a title on him, the
Right.
championship. But
Yep.
what do we
All
know?
right. So next we go to Miz and Carmelo talking about Money in the Bank and how Money in the Bank really benefited the Miz and how he's going to step aside because he has so much faith in Carmelo. You know, I Carmelo's a good act, but I can't get behind anything he does. You know.
Well, what I'm hoping is that eventually there's going to be that turn. He's going to turn, or the Miz is going to turn on him.
Oh yeah, that's a given.
And so he's going to become that baby face. I really hope that when that happens, there's just something that he gets it at that point, and he's able to really take advantage of being that baby face. and become, that guy that whose name, when they say it, you get excited about. Because right now, I agree with you. I hear Carmelo, yeah, so what?
Yeah, yeah. I think he had a running partner in NXT who actually became an NXT champion. I can't remember his name, but I think he's got more get go than Carmelo. The only thing Carmelo's got is he's got personality and he's got that in abundance. But
Right.
as far as in ring, he's average. I think, you know. But even his personality is kind of overbearing sometimes. Although I got to laugh at that stupid gold necklace.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Right, but it just adds to the whole level of it. So,
Yeah.
all right. So next we go to recap of Jay and Logan Paul and their little feud. Uh, Next we go to Solo Jacob and Jeff Cobbs. Jacob's happy, pretty much out of that. Told Solo he loves him.
Yep.
Um, then we go to Bianca Vignette. She's ready for a turn, I think.
She needs to be turned because I have no interest in her anymore. She's a great talent. I think she is great all around, but I think they've done everything they could do with her as far as her being a babyface. She needs something new, and it needs to be as a heel.
Yep, yep. So next, we go to the main event, which is Faxon versus Steve Profits. This is actually a pretty good match. I enjoyed it greatly. Montel Ford is always on his game. You want to talk about a high performer? He's a high performer, and I'm not taking anything away from his partner, but Montel Ford is just a hair better.
Yeah.
Uh,
Earlier, a few minutes ago, I agree with you about the match night being the one with LA Knight and Shinsuke and Black. Um, I have to disagree. I've changed my mind. I think this was the match of the night. I mean, these guys. Oh my gosh, man! This was a great match. It really, really was. I'm excited to see a rematch between these two guys. As we know, what happened was we had the Wyatt Sick come out. The lights went out. They showed up, interrupted the match. I was torn about this, and I'll tell you why. On one hand, I really wanted to see a victory between Faxium and Montel Ford and his partner,
Street
uh,
Profits.
the Street Profits, right? I really wanted to see someone a clear cut victory. But on the other hand, what a great night for the Wyatt Sick to make a comeback because it was Bray Wyatt's birthday. So, it honestly gave me chills knowing that it was Bray Wyatt's birthday. And that's when they decided to bring them back. Bravo to WWE for doing that. I just wish that it could have been during a different match, instead of a
Um,
match that was so good.
Now before they were called the Wyatt Six, SIX, right? And now they're
No,
the
it's always been right.
Wyatts.
No, it's
Is it?
always been
I
the
always
Wyatt
thought.
Six.
Oh, I thought it was Wyatt Six.
Wyatt Six.
Okay.
SICKS.
Well, like
Yeah,
AEW, my recording stopped just like 30 seconds into the Wyatt Sick coming out.
right.
I saw
Um,
Eric bowl over a couple guys, and that was and Nikki sitting on the apron. That was pretty much all I saw.
and that's basically all that happened. They came in and they basically cleared the ring. They beat the shit out of everybody. And again, it was great seeing them back on Bray Wyatt's birthday. But I just wish
Yeah,
WWE would have chosen another match to interrupt.
right. But we also forgot to mention that Ciampa and Johnny Gargano came out, and then Motor City Machine Guns came out, and then
Yep,
the Wyatt Sick came out.
yep, yep,
So
yep, yep.
Um,
So
so it was lead up. Yeah, it was nice to see them, and I really hope they kind of do something with them. To be honest, I don't want them to seem like what was that group with Luna Vachon, the Odysseys.
oh yeah.
I just have a feeling that's how they're going to end up, and that's going to be just pathetic and sad. They have a great opportunity with a bunch of talented wrestlers to do something, NWO like, I guess, maybe not like a faction, but come in and just at the end of every show, just clear house, and just tear
Yeah.
everything apart.
Well,
So
the thing is this. Um, I don't think WWE should have them in matches a whole lot. I think that Uncle Howdy should really be treated as a special type of an event for him to actually be in the match. It should mostly be at pay-per-views. Have them come out in their storylines against whoever to destroy them. Have a couple of your people from Wyatt's sake get in the ring, but don't have them take the pins, man. Build these
yep.
people up as monsters. My question is, and this is what I actually believe it, I hope this doesn't happen, is Bliss. I really hope they don't put her in this group. I think she needs to stay by herself and eventually have a title. But
Yeah.
I don't want to see her with them. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed because I think she would add a lot to them, but at the same point, it would detract from her and enhance them. So yeah,
Yeah,
I see your point. You know, um, it'd be a great addition to them, but and she's got that history with Nikki Cross
right.
and Bray Wyatt. Um, so I don't know. I guess at
Yeah,
one
but
point if they're gonna turn her, make her batshit crazy again, then yeah, go for it. But until then, leave her alone.
yeah, see, right now, before they do any, if they do any of that, before they do that, I really want to see a match between Tiffy and Bliss. I think that that would be one hell of a match that they could have. I think that if done right, they could have the feud of the year in the women's division. I really do.
You
If
know,
it's done right.
one thing we missed is Alexa digging on Charlotte Flair, which was actually pretty decent.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah. Um,
I don't think Bliss is
wait,
much taller than Zelina, though, is she?
no, but look, I'll tell you what I didn't like was at the first segment of the night, the opening of the show with Charlotte coming out and Tiffy being in the ring and Bliss coming out first. When Tiffy left the ring, you seen Bliss and Charlotte stand side by side, pretty close to the ropes, watching Tiffy. I didn't like it. Almost made it seem like Alexa Bliss is kind of on the side of Charlotte Flair, like she's kind of with her. It didn't look right. I think that what should really happen was either Charlotte should have really attacked Bliss at that point and threw her out the ring because Charlotte is that big heel. They should have not had Alexa Bliss standing side by side with Charlotte with nothing happening. I just little things like that I just don't like.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, but we're kind of picky, so
yeah, we are. But look, that was the review of SmackDown. I know that our shows normally go 45 minutes to an hour, but tonight is the
main
main
event.
event. Yep, main event. So we're going to be watching that. But we're not going to have a special podcast to cover that. We'll probably just cover some of it, the big things that happen on Tuesday night when we are doing a review of Monday Night Raw with Bob Cook, with George Strong. Uh, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. I'm trying to build it. You guys have been so great to me, though, man. The DMs that I get from people telling me they enjoy the show. You know, people who are watching the show, who's supporting us. Very small podcast. I appreciate all of the guests I've been able to have come on the show. We are a small podcast, like I said. So for these wrestling legends to want to come on the show, man, we've been very blessed to have them on. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys, because I have some great interviews, some great guests lined up that you can check out who's going to be next on the podcast on my Facebook page, just KG Landry. You can find me there. Um, we will see you guys
Tuesday.
on Tuesday. No, I was thinking Sunday we're watching the AW pay per
AEW.
view. Do you want to do just a quick recap after the show since we don't have to work Monday?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay, so guys, we will probably be on Sunday after the AEW pay-per-view. But until then, Mark, what do you got to say?
Ring the bell. Ring the damn bell. And
Re-
let's go watch. Let's go watch Saturday night main event.
Yep, you guys have a good one.
All right. Have a good night, guys.